Hello my scholars, welcome to my school channel. My name is Alexandra, and in this video we are going to be trashing the topic stress in English language. Okay, so this is one of the most asked questions in English language. We get a lot of questions about stress, about the rules of stress, or how do we determine stress in the word. So today we're going to be learning everything about stress, from the meaning of stress, the degree of stress, how to determine the stress, word stress, sentence stress, contrastive or emphatic stress, the function of the stress. We'll learn all of that in today's lesson. So stay with us, don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to my school channel. So these are the objectives for today's lesson. So we're going to be starting with the meaning of stress in English language. Then we'll go further into word stress. We'll look at sentence stress. Under each we have subtopics. Okay, we'll get to know the subtopic subsequently. Then we'll look at contrastive stress, and then lastly we'll take a look at the function of stress in English language. So let's start with the first objective, which is the meaning of stress in English language. So how do we define stress? Or when they ask you what is stress, how do you tell the person, or how do you define it? Okay, so stress is the emphasis given to a syllable in a word, or a word in a syllable. Is the emphasis. Now when we talk about emphasis, we're talking about the strength you put in the pronunciation of a word or a syllable, or the force or the loudness that is attached to that particular syllable. That is what we mean by emphasis. The force, the strength, the loudness, the I tone you use, the pitch you use in pronouncing a particular syllable or a word. Now in this definition, we can also point out that stress can be seen in the word level and the sentence level. That is why I've underlined a syllable within a word and a word in a sentence, within a sentence. Okay, so we can look at stress at the word level, and we can look at stress at the sentence level. So when we examine stress at the word level, we're looking at the syllable that is stressed within that word, and then when we are looking at stress at the sentence level, we're examining the word or the words in a sentence that is stressed. Okay, so we'll explore all of this subsequently, but next let's take a look at the degree of stress. Now, some scholars recognize 3 degrees of stress. Okay, they recognize the primary stress, the secondary stress, and the weak stress. Now, what do they determine, or how do they describe a primary stress? The primary stress is the stress with the I tone. It is also referred to as the I tone. That is that particular syllable that has the highest musical tone, okay, or highest voice tone. Okay, so what is the secondary stress? The secondary stress is the syllable that has mid-tone. So mid-tone in this sense means it is lower than the primary stress. It's not as strong as the primary stress. While the weak stress, as the word implies, weak means that it is a low tone. It is used with a low tone. So we have high tone, mid tone, and low tone. So it is weak in this regard. That syllable is weak. So stress is divided into 3 degrees by some scholars: primary stress, secondary stress, and weak stress. Now let's consider this example. The word disobedient. Disobedience. So this word has 5 syllables, so let's divide. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is the secondary stress, and this is the primary stress. So stress is indicated by a stroke, this stroke, something like this, beside the syllable that is stressed. While the secondary stress is indicated by a stroke below the syllable. So this is a secondary stress. This is a primary stress, while others are regarded as weak stress. Okay, So this is weak, this is weak, this is also weak. There is no symbol to indicate a weak stress. It is indicated by the absence of a stroke. But then for a secondary stress, you have the stroke below. For a primary stress, you have the stroke above, and you find this in dictionaries, okay? So disobedience is the word, and we can see that the stress is on B, okay? So this is an example of primary stress, secondary stress, and weak stress in a word. Now, some other scholars recognize 2 degrees of stress, and that will be the focus of today's tutorial. We are just going to focus on 2 degrees of stress, which is a stressed syllable and an unstressed syllable. Now, let's take a look at that. Okay, so a stressed syllable is characterized by a strong tone. Okay, a stressed syllable is characterized by a strong tone, and then with loudness in your voice. The duration of your voice also. When we talk about duration, we mean the length, right? It is longer, okay, in pronunciation. And then we talk about the pitch of your voice. It's I, okay? So it is indicated by placing a stroke at the beginning of the stressed syllable. So what do we mean by stroke? Okay, so this is a stroke. This is what we regard as a stroke, and it is placed at the beginning of the syllable that is stressed, okay? So an unstressed syllable is characterized by a weak tone. So it is a weak tone, it is not loud, it is soft, okay? So this is how we differentiate between a stressed syllable and an unstressed syllable in the pronunciation. One is louder, the other is not loud, it's soft, it's weak. One is strong, one is weak, okay? So a stressed syllable is generally strong, is a strong tone, while an unstressed syllable is a weak tone. So this is what we will be focusing on, and this is how we would explore examples, okay? So let's go to the next objective, which is the word stress. Okay, starting with word stress, we understand that when we look at word stress, we are taking a look at the syllable that is stressed in the word, right? And we've explored the topic syllable, right? We've looked at the types of syllable we have. So if you are new to syllable, please go and look for the topic syllable, which I have done. Go over it to learn it because you would need it. It is very useful for this topic, okay? So now, taking a look at word stress, okay, we have monosyllabic words, we have disyllabic words, and we have multisyllabic words or polysyllabic words, okay? So starting with monosyllabic words, okay? Monosyllabic words are words that have just one syllable, and because it has just one syllable, the stress is placed at the beginning of that word, okay? So monosyllabic words are stressed at the beginning of the word. Examples of monosyllabic words, we have gate, come, kind, love, sun, moon, good, and etc. Okay, so how do we stress them? We use the stroke at the beginning of the word. We place the stroke at the beginning of each monosyllabic word. So it's very easy with monosyllabic word, right? Okay, so don't forget we are going to be using the term stressed and unstressed, not primary, not secondary or weak. We're using the terminology stressed syllable and unstressed syllable. So gate is stressed, calm is stressed, kind is stressed, love is stressed, sun, moon, good is stressed, okay? So these are monosyllabic words and they are stressed at the beginning of the word. Now, how do we stress disyllabic words, okay? So let's take a look at examples of disyllabic words. Okay, for two-syllabic words or disyllabic words, they can have their stress on the first and second syllable, right? Okay, so for example, first syllable, we have the word father. In the course of this tutorial, we will be using capital letter to indicate a syllable that is stressed, not the stroke, okay? So the stroke is used in dictionaries, but in the course of this lesson, we'll be using capital letter. So please take note of this. We're using capital letter to indicate the stressed syllable, while unstressed syllables are written in small letters or what we call lowercase. So we have father. So father is stressed at the beginning of the word. Carver is stressed at the beginning of the word. Doctor is stressed at the beginning of the word. Second is stressed at the beginning of the word. Okay, so words like this are stressed at the second syllable. Contain, unknown, remain, unless. Now you can hear from the pronunciation that one syllable is pronounced louder, is stronger than the other syllable. Father, cover, doctor, second, contain, unknown, remain, unless. Okay, so a good way to practice this is also to pronounce it and to hear yourself know which one is pronounced louder than the other. Okay, so let's take a look at 3-syllabic words. Okay, so how do we stress 3-syllabic words? They can be stressed on the first, second, and third, and that is where it gets difficult. Okay, so 3-syllabic words can have their stress on the first or second or third syllable. Okay, so we have the first syllable examples: character, fortunate, quantity, uncertain. Now this is the second syllable: uncertain, beginning, occasion, understand, disagree, refugee. Okay, so we can see that 3-syllabic words can be stressed on the first syllable, can be stressed on the second syllable, and some can be stressed on the third syllable. Just like 2-syllabic words, they can be stressed on the first and then the second syllable. But we don't know yet how to determine which syllable will be stressed, right? But subsequently in this video, you know how to determine that. Okay, so let's take a look at 4-syllabic words, words that have 4 syllables and they are stressed. Okay, so these are words that have 4 syllables, right? And then we'll consider their stress. So we have the first word, fortunately. Fortunately, it can be stressed on the first syllable. So these are words that can be stressed on the first, second, and third syllable. Fortunately. Journalism, tribalism, certificate, this is the second syllable here. Impossible, second syllable. Contradiction, third syllable. Demarcation, third syllable. So we can see words that have 4 syllables being stressed on the first, being stressed on the second, being stressed on the third syllable. Okay, still we don't know how to determine. We are still looking at examples of the possibility we can have with stress within words. Let's take a look at 5-syllabic words and stress. Okay, so we have administrative. Okay, me is stressed. Okay, imperialism, second is stressed. Conversational, third is stressed. Examination, fourth is stressed. Okay, so we can see that 5-syllabic words can be stressed on the second, on the third, and the fourth syllable. Okay, so these are the possibilities we can have with the stress pattern in 5-syllabic words. Now let's take a look at 6-syllabic words. So we have ceremoniously, okay, stressed on the third. We have dependability, stressed on the fourth, and we have indistinguishable, which is stressed on the third syllable. Okay, so we have the possibility of third, we have the possibility of fourth, we could have the possibility of fifth too. Okay, so these are the possibility of stress pattern in 6-syllabic words. Okay, so we've taken a look at monosyllabic words, and we know that it is easy to stress monosyllabic words. But then when we get to the 2nd-syllabic words, the 3rd-syllabic words, 4th-syllabic, 5th-syllabic, 6th-syllabic words, it poses to be challenging because we do not know how to stress them, or we do not know the particular syllable that carries the stress. So we need to understand how to place the syllable on words that have more than 1 syllables, right? So next is, how do we determine the stress in a syllable? How do we determine the stress in a multisyllabic word or in a disyllabic word? So that's the next topic we'll be trashing. Before we go into that, I have prepared a longer version of this video, which you need to subscribe to. All you need to do is you click on the link in the description below, which takes you to the My School website. There you'll be required to subscribe. Please go ahead to subscribe so that you can have access to the rest of this video lesson. Thank you for joining us. Do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly tap on the bell notification to get informed as soon as we release the next videos.